a bit better handling of them next time when such a scenario happens. I understand also Finland, until recently you were non-allied to NATO, but you did so when Moscow went to Kyiv, and we saw the Finnish people a bit happy, and you are also trying to help us with regional stability. What are some of the key lessons you're going to learn from you, especially going by your good army, with the long border you share with Russia? Thank you.
Sure. I mean, two very good questions, rather diverse. On the first one, I don't know the specific case, but of course, anytime there are delays in students entering Finland, I find that to be quite unfortunate. Fortunately, we have a very good university system which attracts a lot of students, and I would hope, of course, that in the future we get more Kenyan students as well. But any kind of delays, and hopefully students not getting stranded, in my mind, is unacceptable. On the second question, indeed, you know, in today's world, we live in turbulent times, in a time when the world order is changing. And we felt in Finland, which has a 1,340-kilometer long border with Russia, that it's always good to have friends. Now, after the Cold War ended, we joined the European Union, which became our values base. But we did not join NATO at the time for a number of reasons. But I think the Finnish people felt that when Russia and Putin aggressively attacked Ukraine on the 24th of February 2022, we had to join an alliance. So NATO membership previously in opinion polls was 50 against 20 in favor. And in an opinion poll over 3 nights, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of February in 2022, feeling that we had experienced a similar attack from the Soviet Union in 1939, 1944. So there's a close emotional attachment to what Ukraine was undergoing. After World War II, we retained our independence, but we lost our sovereignty and 10% of our territory. And we don't want the same thing to happen for Ukraine. Are there any lessons? I think conflicts are quite different depending on where you are. They all have their own DNA. But there's one lesson I think generally that we have learned throughout our history, is that in order for you to be able to live in peace and prevent war, you have to prepare for it. There's a reason why we have obligatory military service and 900,000 men and women who've done it. And there's a reason why we have 280,000 men and women in reserves and one of the largest militaries in Europe. And as I always say, the reason is not Sweden. The reason is Russia. And we have been able to maintain peace with Russia and will continue to do so ever since World War II, just by having a deterrence system which is strong enough. And now, of course, us, together with Sweden, joining NATO was the icing on the cake.
On the first question, on matters to do with education and some of the Kenyan students who unfortunately got stranded in Finland, I'm happy that there was eventually, it was a very unfortunate situation, and some officials in Kenya are undergoing accountability mechanisms to make sure that whatever happened to those students, whoever was involved, are held to account. But on a positive note, the universities in Finland were kind enough to accommodate the students and to provide for them to conclude their education on an agreed framework. And I think it shows the depth and form of the relationship between our two countries. And I must, through you, Mr. President, thank the universities in Finland for their understanding and them facilitating the Kenyan students to complete their courses.
Hello, I'm Eva Eronen from YLA Finnish Broadcasting Company. According to rights groups, dozens of people were killed during last year's protest, and also there have been enforced disappearances and many are still missing. Your Excellency, President William Ruto, what is the Kenyan government doing to ensure such violations will not happen again?
Thank you very much for asking that question. I know that it will be a subject of discussion between my guests here with members of the civil society and other members of the Kenyan society. The statistics are arguable this way or the other way, but that does not take away from the issues that have been raised around what happened on the dates you have mentioned. There are three things that I can speak to it. Number one is that there is an accountability mechanism to make sure that that situation is attended to, and a proper accountability mechanism is put in place. That's number one. Number two is the fact that I undertook to the country that being a democracy, and robustly so, that Kenyans must not, as has happened in the past, where Kenyans disappeared and their bodies were found in all manner of places, that will not happen under my administration. And all the people who disappeared or who were abducted in what you said, all of them have been brought back to their families and to their homes. And I have given clarity and firm instructions that nothing of that kind of nature will happen again, and that it was my commitment as I became president that extrajudicial disappearances of Kenyans will not be part of what we are doing as a nation. Additionally, we have taken proactive steps. My first assignment when I became president was to extend the independence of our investigative agencies, including the police, give them financial autonomy, give them operational autonomy that is guaranteed in the Constitution, and we have since transferred the budget from the Office of the President for the police to the Police Service Commission, and the Inspector General of the Police is now solely responsible for matters operation, for matters finances, and that my office has now nothing to do with the operations, the financing of police activities, to give them independence. Secondly is to enhance the independence of the judiciary by making sure that we expand the budget for the judiciary, make sure that whatever other interventions that are necessary to make sure that our judiciary is independent and can function at an optimal level, including what Cabinet approved a few weeks ago to make sure that judges have a proper retirement package that also ensures that they have transportation and other benefits that initially were not available to them, as part of my push to make sure that the judiciary is independent and is capacitated to be able to discharge their responsibility as part of checks and balances between the different arms of government.
I think we'll take a final question.
Your Excellencies, President Stubb and the host, President William. My name is Seth Olale from Citizen TV.